So I recently watched the movie The Substance, and ooh, I have a lot to say about it. Kind of wanted to give a review on it. This was definitely one of the more interesting movies I've seen in quite a while. So the movie is it's a body horror movie for if you're wondering if you don't know what body horror is, basically it's a genre of movie regarding like disturbing things that happen that change someone's body. Think movies like um I mean there's a lot of them. Tusk is a big example of this, The Human Centipede. If you're really into like D tier movies or like D list movies that aren't as famous, like Cabin Fever. Um Basically it's that kind of movie, so it's a pretty disturbing movie for a lot of people, and it definitely is an unsettling movie to watch. Um so this movie it's essentially about a famous actress called Elizabeth. Now, she has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. She's definitely hit it big, but as the years go on, she's past her prime, and the main plot of this movie takes place on her 50th birthday. And it's at this time where she gets fired from the show she's on, and it really sends her spiraling. Like she has like a huge existential crisis. And what she does is, well, because of this, she essentially takes the substance because a nurse recommends it to her. Um and it's it gets a little interesting from there. She basically out of her back births out a younger version of herself called Sue. And basically, Sue becomes famous in her place, and essentially, she gets to relive her glory as a much younger person. Um, and what starts happening, however, is because the substance, what they need to do is they alternate every 7 days. And in those 7 day periods, the Sioux counterpart, well, there starts to become an imbalance power battle, basically. She starts really struggling with herself. She's Sue is so famous that when she is Sue, she doesn't want to give up like being Sue, so she stays Sue for more than 7 days, which causes issues. She starts aging more rapidly, the Elizabeth counterpart. And that power dynamic produces some very disturbing things. And I don't want to spoil the plot, but that's essentially the main concept of the movie. That's the main story. Basically just that power battle. So I really think this is quite a film if, well, for one, you want to see something experimental and something that's different. This is probably one of the most indie movies I've seen in a while. And I think the last movie I saw in theaters that could compare to this in terms of like that art house indie film is The Whale, which is not a horror movie, but it's a similar thing. It's about struggling with yourself. And there's clearly a message about body positivity, but what I really do like about this movie is the psychological aspects to it are pretty insane. Like I think that obviously it's body positivity, but you could take a lot more symbolism from the substance. I mean, you could compare it to like taking a drug and how um when you're addicted it just starts like eating at you. And it's it's really interesting because you can tell how she realizes that the Sue counterpart is hurting her a lot. Um but she still can't quit Sue because Sue is now the new famous person. She's the washed up version of herself. So it's like even though Sue is literally killing her, it's like that power balance and that struggle, you can symbolize that in a lot of ways. And I do think that the movie culminates the way it culminates, basically, that final little, I want to say like the final act of the movie where everything just comes to a head in front of the whole world between basically Elizabeth Sue and just the entire again, if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. The way that it all just comes together is really phenomenal. Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley, I hope I pronounced those names right. They really brought a lot to this, and they really this is really good acting, and the way that the movie like it's so immersive. It's a few things I didn't like about it were I guess the very needless dance scenes. There was a very obvious like extended showing of some stuff that I don't think that was necessary, but it didn't really ruin the movie for me. The whole story, the way everything balances out, and especially that ending, it's just this is definitely a good movie, and it sums up, the existential crisis that not just actors may feel, but like people may feel. They feel their prime is past them, and just like the struggle between someone and themselves, essentially. Um, and it's definitely a very disturbing movie to watch, but it's well worth it. So I would recommend watching this if you haven't. And if you're watching this within the first few days of it being uploaded, hope you have a great Halloween.